I've been training calisthenics for 7 years now. I started at 14 and I did every single routine that you can think of. But this chest and back routine with low volume and high intensity is the one that truly humbled me. If you think calisthenics cannot build size or muscle, think again. I'm about to show you a routine that you need to try out if you want to get jacked with calisthenics. Okay, so here's how it's gonna go. We're gonna hit chest and back movements, first doing chest and then doing back, and we're gonna be focusing as much as we can on the intensity of the workout. That is basically the whole basis of this workout, right? That is the mindset that you want to have behind this. If you do not apply that, then I'm sorry, but the volume is going to be too low for you. So if you're not a fan of low volume training and high intensity training, so basically the most effective way to build muscle in my opinion, then get off this video. Then you're probably not going to see that much results with it. But if you really want to take everything that I say as serious as possible, then listen to what I have to say right here. Intensity is key. So by the end of this, you will have a workout that pumps your back and chest like no other workout you've ever tried in your life. So if you want to have that for every single workout you ever going to do in the future, and you actually want to build muscle within 6 months time, the top link in the description, that's where my Jacked by Calisthenics program is. Go ahead and go over there, and every single detail is going to be laid out for you in there with 30 plus modules. So I'll see you inside. So the first exercise that we're going to do is going to be a little warm-up that we're going to be doing. Now for a lot of people, this is going to be too much. It's going to be too much to start off with this. Now you don't have to do this. I did this just basically purely off of a intensity standpoint and trying to add more workload to my sessions. So I started off with 100 pull-ups and 100 dips, fast paced, quick as possible, just for some extra repetitions, for some extra work basically at the end of the day, right? So basically what I did was 20 pull-ups, 20 dips, and I did that for 5 total sets. As I already said, you don't have to do that. But the reason why I think it's very good to actually start off with that is you have a little bit of back and chest pre-fatigue. When you have that pre-fatigue, you're automatically going to be going into your next exercises with a little bit more comfort, with a little bit more of a good feeling when you start, for example, your dips or your pull-ups. So after you're done doing this, which if you're a beginner, you can still do this with lower reps, for example, doing 10 pull-ups and 10 dips, or doing 20 and 20, or if you're a little bit more advanced, you can do 50 and 50. Do whatever you want to do. But right now I did 100 and 100, and now we're going to get into the real first exercise, and that is going to be weighted dips on rings. Weighted dips on rings is, in my opinion, the best lower chest builder and just overall chest builder and pushing exercise in calisthenics that you can do. Not only just because it's dips, but also because of the rings, of course. The rings take like that stability factor out of the movement, which is extremely difficult to hold for a long time. If you're actually a beginner, then just sticking to the regular dips on the bars is totally fine as well. Now what we're going to be doing for this is we're going to be doing 2 sets with a very specific technique that I use every single time I train. And if you're going to be using this, you're automatically going to gain more muscle than 90% of the guys who are doing 2 sets to failure as well. So the set goes as follows. We first do a set where we go all out. Okay, so right now I did, for example, I think 66 pounds for as many reps as I could. If you get 9 reps, that means on the second set, you're going to have to match that 9 rep set. You're going to have to do 9 reps again. Now you might ask yourself, if I did 9 reps on the first set, of course I'm not going to be able to match that on the second set because I'm already intensely fatigued. I'm not going to be able to match it. That's not the purpose of training. You want to be doing worse the next set, right? That's how correct training goes. Yes, but what we're going to be doing is we're going to be implementing a rest pause type of intensity technique. So let's say on the first set you did 9, and on the second set you have to match that. If you did 6 on the second set, rest for 5 seconds, get off the bars, get off the rings, whatever you're doing, rest for 5 seconds, and then get back into it until you hit 9 reps. And that is an intensity technique that I have used for about 2 weeks now, and I've been implementing it for every single one of my workouts, every single one of my exercises that I do 2 sets to failure with. Now you have to, as I said at the early beginning of the video, you have to keep in mind intensity is key. So when you go for an all-out max set like that, don't just think to yourself, you know what, I'm gonna do 5 reps because that's very difficult for me. I'm gonna have 1 strain rep at the end and that's it. No, I want you to go as far as you physically can to the point where you fail multiple reps. The beautiful thing about this matching this set technique when you go into your second set is that you probably are gonna hit failure about 2 or 3 times in the second set. So even though it's a 2 set to failure method, we're we're hitting failure like 3 or 4 times in 2 sets. Do you understand that by doing that, you have hit failure literally more than everyone on planet Earth who is also doing 2 sets to failure? They hit failure 2 times. We hit failure 4 or 5 times within those 2 sets. That's exactly why I want you to match the reps that you did on the first set. Let's get into exercise number 2 now. Now, as I said, we're sticking to chest. So we're first going to be finishing chest, and then we're going to be getting into back. We're going to now get into some weighted push-ups, and I want you to go as heavy as possible to where you land in a rep range of about 8 to 12. If you're below that, then I want you to rest and pause and continue until you're in the rep range of 8 to 12. So again, we're going to use the exact same method here. We're going to use 2 sets, and whatever you get on your first rep, we're going to match that on the second set. And as you can see on the video, I actually drop setted it multiple times as well, all the way down to body weight. And that is something that you can implement if you actually want to just ask a lot from yourself and you want to go insanely hard. Go ahead and do that. It's, in my opinion, the best way of going about it. If you want to add more intensity, just add some fucking partial reps, go drop sets. This is what I'm always preaching on my videos. Just go insanely hard. People always like to write down exactly what they're going to do, and I do agree, it's very good to do that, but you don't have to write down the intensity techniques. The intensity techniques you have to add in once you have hit failure, and that's not something that you're going to be writing down beforehand. You have to do that on the spot, in the moment, when you decide, I'm now going to do 4 partials at the end or whatever, right? That is exactly what you're going to be doing with the drop set. So if you feel like, for example, you did 2 sets to failure with these push-ups, and both of them you hit 9, so of course you rested and paused in the second set, whatever, you're matching the numbers on the first set, and then what you're going to be doing is, afterwards, to just get some more intensity out of there, you're going to be dropping the weight and just do body weight reps, as many as you can, slow and controlled. Now, one rule that I have with these push-ups is that I go down for a 3-second count. So I say 1, 2, 3, and then I shoot back up. Now, I do that because I basically want to focus as much as I can on trying to get that negative over exaggerated, right? So that I can build more muscle with it. On the 3rd second, so when you say 3, 2, 1, at that 1, you want to be at the deepest position that you can physically be at. So when you are at that deep position, that is when you want to explode back up, and you want to have maybe a millisecond of pausing at the bottom and just shoot back up. If you do that for about 8 to 12 reps, let's say you do 10, 2 sets, you don't need a 3rd set, and you arguably don't even need a 2nd set, but we're doing a 2nd set because we want gains. Now, let's go into exercise number 3, which is going to be the 3rd chest exercise and the final one. We're going to be doing deficit push-ups. Now, if you do not have high dip bars, I honestly also think it's fine to have just parallettes on the floor, or have some boxes where you can over exaggerate that stretch, something that just doesn't limit you from stretching your chest. So if the floor is touching your chest constantly, go higher up, find a deeper deficit, and do it on that. Now, the moment when you have your setup, we're going to be doing 2 sets to failure, and again, the first set that we do, go all out. Every single rep that you can squeeze out, I want you to squeeze out. And then the second set, we're going to be matching the exact same numbers. Now, the moment when you're done matching the exact same number on the second set, so you rested and pause and you keep going until you hit the same number, then I actually want you to hold that deep stretch position for as long as you can, which is something that I did not do in this video. But if you actually want to further that intensity, when you're done hitting your failure set, just go down again as if you would do another one, and just hold that stretch position as long as you physically can. The moment when you do that, you're going to gain muscle even quicker, because you're now sitting in that stretch position, which is very hypertrophic. It's a great position to build muscle in. So sit there and just leave the tension fuck you up. And the moment when you hit failure on that, that is when you're officially done with the set, and you're going to be repeating that for 2 times. Now, you might think that the volume is extremely low. We're just doing 2 sets for 3 exercises. Is that really it? If that is your feeling after this workout, after this chest session, then you did not train hard enough. So make sure you hold yourself accountable. Now let's get into the back section of today's video, and that is going to be the first exercise. We're going to be doing ring pull-ups. Now, you can actually be kind of free with this. You can choose a variation of your liking. If you have a variation, for example, that you really feel good, go ahead and do it. If you feel it good on the wider grip, go ahead and do it. If you love doing the close grip, go ahead and do it. If you love doing the chin up, go ahead and do it. I just want you to pick out a variation where you can stick to and get good reps with, good mind muscle connection. That is what I want you to do. Now again, the same follows for this exercise right here. 2 sets to failure, and whatever you get on your first set, you're going to match on the second. Now, the beautiful thing about doing that with pull-ups is that you're really gonna have to be very explosive at the bottom to get yourself up there after you have hit failure for the 4th time in the second set, right? So as you can see, I really was trying to get myself up there with my chin over the bar, which was starting to feel impossible, but that is exactly how I want you to feel. That's why you should pick a weight that is so challenging for you that you feel like you're not going to get that matching number that you need to get, but you're going to get it anyways because you rest 5 seconds between the reps. Now, second exercise that we're going to do, very, very simple. We're going to again do pull-ups, but now we're going to be doing Commando close grip pull-ups on the rings. So the way that you set this up, a lot of people seem confused about this exercise. The way that you set this up is you only have one band for the ring. So you take out the ring out of the one band, you get rid of the other band, and you put it in the same band, in the same loop of the band that hold the rings, and then you have 2 rings next to each other where you could do pull-ups on. So we're going to be doing that for 2 sets, and whatever you get on the first one, we're going to match on the second. But in this exercise, I want you to go so heavy because the close grip allows us to pull a little bit heavier, right? The close grip allows us to tuck our body fully in and to really strain our way up. With the wide grip, it's a little bit harder. So if we're going to be doing close grip, I want you to pick a weight where you can only do about 6 reps, but you're going to force yourself to go above that. You're going to absolutely force yourself to do more than that. Now listen, the moment when that is done, go to the second set and you're going to match what you did on the first one. So if it's 8, you're going to be doing 8 reps on the second set. After that, drop set the weights to a little bit of a lighter weight and go failure on that. Now the moment you have hit failure on that, then take off all the weights and do body weight reps till failure. Do you now understand why I'm preaching this style of calisthenics? Do you now understand why the Jacked by Calisthenics program, which is the first link in the description, is actually going to get you jacked? Because every single lesson that I have built in there is exactly for you to follow this style of training and to get jacked in 6 months. Look at this student right here. He sent me this morning and I was like, holy shit. This style of calisthenics builds muscle and strength like no other style of calisthenics really does. The 2-set method, going to failure and actually training as hard as you can and slightly changing up the variations. That is what I preach all of the fucking time. So if you want to gain muscle with calisthenics and you want to see results like you see here on the screen, go to the top link in the description and just for the love of God, follow everything I say and just do it blindly, mindlessly. Just focus on it for as long as you can and trust me, you will be sending me these same messages. Now, let's go into exercise number 3, which is the final exercise for today. And we're going to be focusing on rows, which is of course great for the back thickness. Now, we're going to be doing this close grip as well. I've been doing wide grip rows for a long time, or not really wide grip, shoulder width rows for a long time. And the reason why I want you to now focus on close grip is because that squeeze is going to be over exaggerated. And when you stretch at the bottom, I don't actually want you to fully fold over like some of the golden era bodybuilders used to do, because that only stretches out the spinal erectors. But we're not really trying to train those. We're trying to stretch our lats to the maximum capacity, right? And our upper back. But you can only stretch out your upper back while keep tension on it without doing this. So you have to stay right here and go as far as you can while keeping your back extremely straight. And then you're going to be rolling it towards your belly button again. And do that for about 10 to 12 reps. Whatever you get on the first set, you're going to match on the second set with no drop sets. And when that is done, you're officially done with the entire workout. Now, a couple of key components that I want to share with you. You should do this style of calisthenics with this workout at least twice a week. If you're going to be doing it 3 times a week, I think you could actually sacrifice a little bit of your recovery because the intensity is very high. We're doing so many sets to failure, so many intensity techniques that actually only becomes effective if we don't do it with crazy high frequency. So stick to about 2 times per week with this style of training, this workout, and that way you're going to actually gain the most progress. Now, for the people again who want to gain muscle with calisthenics within 6 months with this style of calisthenics training, then go to the top link in the description because this is where Jacked by Calisthenics, my personal program and community, is at. Invest in yourself right now and start gaining muscle with calisthenics. Get progress and results like you see here on the screen, and I will see you inside and you're going to be sending the same messages. And as always, watch this video right here because this video I'm going to be showing you exactly what shoulder exercises you need to do to grow big shoulders with calisthenics.